Good morning, Girl Scouts. My name is Katie, and I am the Girl Scouts Beyond Bars Specialist for the amazing Troop 1500 in Austin. And I am here today so that we can learn some of the science behind basic cheese making. We're going to be using milk from our dairy goats right here on our farm. In fact, it's milk that we got this morning, so it is extra fresh. The first thing we're going to need to do is we need to sanitize all of our equipment. I've actually done that before to save us a little bit of time. I do use stainless steel pans as well to avoid any additional reactions. The same reason we sanitize our equipment is this is a food product, so obviously we don't want any additional bacteria or anything like that, as well as when making cheese, that extra bacteria can actually affect the way the cheese forms. Once our pans are clean and sanitized, we take cold raw milk, which is what I have right in here. Like I said, this is from our dairy goats from our farm. We're going to take a half a gallon, which is just shy of 2 liters, and we're going to pour it directly in the pan. Making a little bit of a mess. That's okay. Make sure you have a pan that's big enough to hold all the milk. Then we're just going to set this aside to be clean later. At that point, we need to get our stove on. And what we want to do is we want to bring this raw milk up to approximately 180 degrees. We want it to go to right before it boils. What this is going to do is it's going to kill the natural bacteria and the natural enzymes in the milk itself. So that way when we add our acid, there's not an additional reaction to that acid, or some cheeses use things like rennet or other cultures, and those cultures actually can be killed off by the natural bacteria in the milk. This is called pasteurization, which is what you normally get with traditional milk from a grocery store. You usually get your milk as pasteurized. If we don't pasteurize it, like I said, it actually will not allow the milk to turn into cheese. So like I said, this needs to come up to right before a boil. So I'm gonna pause our video really quick because this is gonna take a couple minutes to come up. All right, so it's taken me about 5 minutes. Our milk is gonna be, I believe, really close to the 180 we need it to be at, and it's about ready to boil. Just double checking with my thermometer. So again, what we're using is about a half a gallon of milk, which is, like I said, just shy of 2 liters. And we're gonna be using 1/4 cup of an acid. So what we're going to use today is we're going to use white vinegar. White vinegar works, lemon juice works, apple cider vinegar works as well. What those do is with the heat combined with the acid, sorry guys, when you add the acid to the process, what happens is coagulation of the fats and the molecules in the milk. All right, so we are almost to a boil. Let's grab you guys. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our acid. And you can see almost immediately there, you begin to see the separation of the curds and the whey. We'll take this off the heat, so we're just gonna scoot it over. You can see the different colors. So that light color, the clear color, is the whey, and the darker color is the curds. What we then do is allow it to sit and rest for about 15 minutes before we drain it. And as I was saying just a moment ago, the coagulation will occur separating the curds from the whey, which is what we saw. You can see the difference right there. Basically what it is it removes the water from the milk and leaves the solids, which is the curds. Together, the heat and the acid cause the proteins in the milk to denture and clump together, and this forms the curds on the top and separates the whey, the liquid portion, to the bottom. Again, it's a little bit, you can see it's a little bit mixed in reality. But you can see the curds kind of forming there on the top. Okay. So now that it has started to separate the curds in the whey, we're going to remove the pan from the heat, which we did, excuse me, and we're going to leave it set for, like I said, about 15 minutes, and that's really going to allow that acid to work and continue to coagulate the solids from the liquids in the milk itself. So I'm going to pause y'all again for just a minute, and we'll move on, and I will unpause you when we move on to the next portion. All right, so our cheese and whey or our curds and whey have been sitting for about 15 minutes. They're still very hot, so make sure you don't touch it. And this is actually something that can be done. It doesn't have to be raw milk. It can be milk from the store. The only thing that may give you a hard time is if you do extra pasteurized milk. So a traditional milk, a traditional whole milk would actually work really well for this. Again, so it's only about a half a gallon to 1/2 cup of your acid, which is vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or lemon juice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our curds and whey and we're going to strain it right here through this cheesecloth. You can see the difference in the liquid portion and in the solid portion. What this is going to do is it's going to remove the whey, or give a way for the whey to get out of those curds, the liquid portion. And going to leave us with just, you see it's still pretty liquidy, so it's going to take a little bit to drain. Going to leave us with just the cheese portion. Once this is done draining, you can add whatever your favorite kind of seasoning is. I've seen everything from dried cranberries to fresh rosemary. Those are really good. Depends on how much curds and whey you have. It may take a little bit to drain. You can also squeeze it, but keep in mind it's very, very hot. So I don't recommend squeezing it right out of the pan. A cheese press is also an option. That is not something I have. So I usually let mine naturally drain, whether I hang it and let it drain. The more you let it drain, the firmer your cheese is going to be. It is edible right out of the pan. It's really good, actually, even without any seasonings. Here we go. It'll come along. And even the whey can actually be used as well. The liquid underneath. Here, let me see if I can see. We're getting that whey underneath. The whey can actually be used as well for things like homemade breads. It goes really good in mashed potatoes. Anything basically you would use water or milk for, the whey can be substituted in. So no part of this is wasted.